Jason, you said something provocative to me, and I want you to explain it. You said, time is a security primitive.
Yes. Now, time and timekeeping and time stamping are such important concepts in cryptography.
Yeah.
But my
Absolutely.
goodness, now that we're talking about post-quantum migrations, we're talking about harvest now, decrypt later issues, we're talking about trust now, forge later issues. Wow, does time become, well, it becomes so important that I'm going to call it a security primitive. Now, some of you who are unbelievably pedantic will say to me, maybe, no, Jay, well, forget it. I think for those of you who are working in the trenches, you have to think of it as a security primitive.
Yeah. Now, we could argue that this is already true.
It is already true.
Because, did this root expire? Did this cert expire? Right. Or the opposite, is this before the supposed issue date? But I think you're talking about expanding that.
Yeah, I'm expanding it. So look, the entire certificate lifecycle management industry started because of time issues. I mean, that's
Sure.
my God.
Yeah. I mean, it's built into PKI.
You and I,
as a fundamental assumption.
you and I have talked about the reason why you put time-based policies on a critical form factor.
Yeah. Right.
It gives you huge advantages.
Right.
Security advantages. If you can't prove when something happened, you can't prove what happened.
Okay.
And so time is not just metadata. It's a security primitive. So that's my fundamental argument there. So, Tim, time governs security. Keys live and die on time. That's what certificate's all about. Authentication depends on clocks. When something became valid will have a lot of effect on whether something can authenticate or not, right? Certificates are legal entities with dates.
Yep.
Dates of code signing.
Yep.
Dates of SMIME.
Document signing.
Here's something people forget. Signatures outlive keys.
Oh, yeah.
Via their timestamps, Tim.
Yes, for sure.
That's yours. Go for it.
By a lot. Well, because you've got to like a contract could last forever, right? Or I mean, I might sign code and I might still use it in 20 years. If I sign a 30-year mortgage, that contract is sitting around for 30 years. That cert's going to expire. And that whole ecosystem is built on the idea, because of time stamping, that even after that cert expired, we don't look now and say, oh, well, this cert's expired, I'm not going to trust that. What we say is, well, was the cert valid when the contract was signed? Yes, it was. Okay, well, then I'm going to trust it now, even though it's later. So you're anchoring it on a point in time, right?
Multiply now what you just said with something that's migrating from a classical signature era to a post-quantum signature era.
Sure. Because now it starts to matter. And it can matter in a variety of ways. Like, just for instance, let's just use an instance. Let's say I doc sign something with RSA in 2031. The fact that I did that in 2031 and not 2025 is germane. Because even though the signature was the same, the algorithm was the same, the context was radically different. Right?
Radically different. Absolutely.
Based on time.
Yep. Time is a security primitive, Tim. I'm going to add just a couple more. Anything having to do with supply chains, and I would consider the forensic systems of supply chains like transparency logs. Time is the thing.
Right. There's timeliness of response is built into all kinds of security practices, including requirements. So if you want to get an ISO 27000 certification, There are requirements around things like how quickly you patch a vulnerability. So when did it occur? When did it get patched?
Yep.
Right? There's also a lot of stuff built around the order in which things happen, which is based on time. For instance, I must perform DCV prior to issuing a server certificate. I cannot issue the server certificate and then go do the DCV after, even if the DCV proves that ownership.
Yes.
It must go in the other order.
Always.
Right? Or I must do a CAA check prior to issuing the certificate. I can't go confirm the CAA after, even if it's 1 second after. It must go in the other order. So oftentimes the order in which things happen, and then you put time boundaries on that. So if you go back to DCV, there's a DCV reuse period. So today it's 366 days. So actually today it's 398 days. Let me get that right. So in the event that I do DCV, I can then turn around and issue the certificate. But if I allow too much time to lapse, I cannot.
So Tim, everything you just said was spoken like a true vice chair of Cab Forum. Let's flip it.
Okay.
Let's talk now like adversaries. Because the bad guy has a vote in time as well.
Okay.
Let's talk about attacks on time. So you're talking, everything you just said was time-based policies. And you can't have the policies, like you can't use the word prior without time.
Yes, correct.
Well, what happens if it isn't just Cab Forum says this, therefore that's what you have to do? What happens if the bad guy's spoofing all these times?
Sure. If you can mess with clocks, that enables attacks.
So Tim, here's the first one. Network time spoofing. What are the effects? Massive.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
How many people have their time nailed?
Yeah. This is actually not always, but this is one of the things that comes up. You and I have done episodes in the past about vendor security assessments, about software supply chain security assessments. And I have been critical about a lot of the problems with them. And I think there are a lot of problems with the way they're being implemented today by a lot of organizations. One of the things that does occur, though, sometimes is there's scrutiny of your internal time management.
This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Right? Yeah.
And therefore, you know, Tim, I hate to say it, but when you're taking inventory of your cryptographic assets, maybe you need to take inventory of the primitives surrounding your cryptographic assets, of time being one of them.
Clocks.
So it's interesting to me that the quantum clock episode we had recently was, it was far-fetched in the sense that, you know, we're talking about the effect of spoofing time in warfare. And the effect it's happening, like, that's essentially how you jam GPS systems.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna bring up GPS as another one, because that's where time now connects to space.
Correct.
Right. And where you are.
You change time, you change time and space. You change space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, amazing.
Right.
But that therefore it means in warfare scenarios, you have to know the time. Time to the point where you can start to measure time-space differences, which might even be affected by gravity itself.
Sure.
Whoa. And that's what
or speed if you're in a very fast-moving vehicle, like an airplane.
If you are in an airplane and you're actually even changing the gravity because you're leaving Earth in a non-trivial amount of space, you're changing time.
Yep.
Because you're changing space.
Yep.
So when we're coming down to such incredibly precise things like cryptography, why is it a surprise that time is part of the space of cryptography, in a sense, right? And so think, Tim, this is kind of where I want to land, but when things go bad in the future, when harvest now, decrypt later stuff starts to come out, post 2030, 35, who knows? I think that there will be questions asked about, hey, was this ever encrypted? Were you breaking the law in 2025?
Yeah, and this is kind of the point I was making earlier, and I think we recognize that time goes in one direction, and that someone might be doing a trust now forged later against signed code or a signed document that was signed before we even understood that the problem existed. And I don't think that you're going to be blameworthy or liable for that. On the other hand, if you are using old algorithms when the new algorithms are available, I could imagine someone being sued. I could imagine contracts being invalidated.
Yep.
And so this is another area where time is going to play an important role in how we deal with breaches and problems. Just like, oh, you knew about the 0 day and you had the patch, but you didn't implement it, right? If I get attacked by a true 0 day and the day anyone discovers it is the day that it hits me, pretty hard to avoid that. But if, on the other hand, this was well known and I had patches available and it's a year later and I get hit with it, that's where I can take the blame. I think we'll see a similar thing with cryptography as well.
Therefore, Tim, I am not surprised to see Google's initiatives around transparency logs on everything that are essentially time-based. Because I think that they foresee this problem.
That's another one. Certificate transparency logs, entirely time-based.
So folks, Tim and I could probably do 10 episodes on this. Let's leave it there. I think time is a security primitive.
I completely agree. Time is a security primitive.
There you go.